High Admiral Vextal stood before the Kraxan Empire's Supreme Council, his crystalline exoskeleton reflecting the pale blue light of the chamber's ancient quantum cores. The massive circular chamber, hewn from living crystal over 10 millennia ago, had witnessed countless reports of conquered species and expanded territories. But this report was different. Supreme Ones, Vextal's voice resonated through the chamber. Our deep space probes have detected a new spacefaring species in Sector 7249. They call themselves humans. The Supreme Council members shifted on their crystalline thrones, their bioluminescent patterns flickering with mild interest. First speaker Cthera leaned forward, her patterns pulsing with curiosity. Another primitive species stumbling into the void. What makes them worthy of our attention? Vextal activated a holographic display, showing Earth and its first colonies. These humans achieved faster-than-light travel merely 3 centuries after discovering electricity. They've established colonies on Mars, Europa, and have mining operations throughout their asteroid belt. Their technological progression is unprecedented. Second speaker Myrax chittered dismissively. Unprecedented. The Kraxan Empire has guided the evolution of 1,000 species. We have shaped the galaxy for 20,000 years. What are these humans compared to our might? Vextal's patterns flickered with concern. Supreme Ones, their development pattern is unique. They advance through conflict. Their history is marked by constant warfare, yet they emerge stronger after each engagement. Their entertainment, their culture, even their children's stories revolve around overcoming superior forces. The chamber erupted in crystalline laughter, the sound resonating through the ancient halls. First speaker Cthera raised a limb for silence. You sound worried, Admiral. Has serving in the outer sectors made you paranoid? These humans have 4 worlds. We have 10,000 systems under our direct control. They are different, Supreme Ones, Vextal insisted. Our probes have detected unusual energy signatures from their research stations. They're experimenting with quantum mechanics in ways we've never seen. I recommend establishing diplomatic contact and— Enough. Third speaker's Kroll interrupted, his patterns flashing with irritation. The Kraxan Empire does not negotiate with primitive species. We guide them, shape them, or remove them if they prove unsuitable. Admiral, you will take a battle group to their research station. Destroy it. Show them their place in the natural order. Vextal's patterns dimmed. Supreme Ones, I must protest. The humans have shown remarkable resilience in— Are you questioning the will of the Supreme Council, Admiral? First speaker Cthera's patterns pulsed dangerously. No, Supreme One. Vextal's patterns submitted, showing proper deference. I will depart immediately. 3 days later, Vextal's battle group dropped out of quantum space near the human research station Prometheus. The station hung in space like a delicate snowflake, its solar arrays catching the light of a distant sun. Multiple human vessels detected, his sensor officer reported. Small craft, minimal armament. They're transmitting. They're requesting communication, Admiral. Vextal's patterns flickered with regret. Ignore them. Target the station's primary reactor. Make it quick. The battle group's quantum lances flared to life. The human ships, desperately trying to evacuate the station, never stood a chance. Prometheus exploded in a brilliant flash, taking 3,000 human lives with it. Message sent, Supreme Ones, Vextal reported later to the Council. The humans will understand their place now. But as his ship jumped back to quantum space, Vextal's patterns dimmed with unease. In the station's final moments, his sensors had detected something strange. A massive energy surge, followed by a quantum signature unlike anything in the Empire's databases. The humans had been working on something in that station, something new. On Earth, the response to the Prometheus massacre was not what the Kraxan Empire expected. There were no pleas for mercy, no hasty surrenders. Instead, in underground facilities and hidden laboratories across the solar system, humanity's response took shape in silence. Project Director Sarah Chen stood in the central chamber of Luna Base Alpha, watching as quantum computers processed the last transmission from Prometheus. "They didn't even try to talk," she said quietly. "Just killed 3,000 people to make a point." General Marcus Rodriguez, Supreme Commander of Earth's United Defense Force, stood beside her. "They made a point all right," he growled. "They showed us exactly what we're dealing with. How long until the quantum drive is ready?" Sarah's fingers danced across her holographic display. The Prometheus team transmitted their final calculations seconds before the attack. "They proved it's possible. We can bypass conventional physics entirely. Give me 6 months, and I'll give you ships that will make the Galactic Empire regret their arrogance." "You have 3 months," Rodriguez replied. "Every sensor we have shows they're preparing for a full invasion. They think we're going to break." He smiled grimly. "They don't understand humans very well, do they?" Sarah looked at the quantum equations flowing across her screen. The Galactic Empire thought they were crushing a primitive species. Instead, they had just unleashed humanity's greatest talent, the ability to transform itself in the face of extinction. The silent halls of Luna Base Alpha hummed with purpose as humanity prepared its response. The Empire's casual cruelty had awakened something they couldn't understand, a species that had spent its entire history preparing for this moment. The clock was ticking, and when it stopped, the galaxy would never be the same. 3 months after the Prometheus massacre, Earth appeared to be in retreat. Orbital stations went dark. Colony ships returned to Earth. To Galactic observers, it looked like submission. They couldn't have been more wrong. Deep beneath the Martian surface, Dr. Sarah Chen watched as the first quantum core pulsed to life. The massive chamber, carved from solid bedrock, thrummed with energy that defied conventional physics. Streams of data flowed across her neural interface, confirming what the Prometheus team had discovered. Reality itself was negotiable. "Power output stable at 400% of theoretical maximum," her assistant reported. "The quantum field is self-sustaining." "Dr. Chen, we've done it. We've created what the Prometheus team theorized." Sarah touched the core's containment field, feeling the energy that would change everything. "Begin production on the other cores. Every ship in the fleet needs one. How's Project Ghost coming along?" In response, a section of the chamber simply vanished. Colonel James Harper stepped out of seemingly empty space, his stealth suit's quantum field collapsing. "Better than we hoped," he said, removing his helmet. "The quantum cores don't just power our ships. They let us bend space itself. We can make anything invisible, untouchable. The Galactic won't know we exist until it's too late." Sarah nodded, reviewing the production schedules on her neural interface. Across the solar system, hidden factories worked at impossible speeds. The quantum cores accelerated manufacturing, letting them compress decades of production into months. Every human innovation, every military advance, every technological breakthrough of the past 1,000 years was being transformed by quantum science. Above Europa, humanity's new fleet took shape in hidden shipyards. The vessels looked wrong somehow, their surfaces steaming to drink in light. Admiral Elena Torres stood on the bridge of the first dreadnought. The Prometheus remembered, watching as quantum drives were installed across the fleet. "Status report," she commanded. "Quantum cores operating at full capacity." Her XO responded. "Ghost field generators online. Weapon systems. Weaponry is unlike anything we've ever built. Admiral, the quantum torpedoes don't just destroy targets. They erase them from existence. Phase cannons bypass shields completely. We're not just building a fleet. We're rewriting the rules of warfare." Elena smiled grimly. "Good. The Galactic Empire thinks they know war. They've spent 20,000 years conquering primitive species, but they've never faced an enemy that evolved through constant conflict. They've never fought humans." In Luna Command, General Rodriguez reviewed the final preparation reports. The quantum cores had transformed everything: communication, weapons, defenses, even human biology. Neural interfaces linked soldiers directly to their ships and weapons. Quantum armor made troops virtually invulnerable. But their greatest advantage was psychological. The Kraxan expect us to behave like every other species they've encountered, he told his assembled commanders. They expect fear, submission, or foolish, desperate attacks. They don't understand that humans have spent their entire history preparing for this moment. Every war we've fought, every battle we've won or lost, was practice for facing an overwhelming alien threat. He gestured to the tactical display showing the Kraxan Empire's worlds. They killed 3,000 of our people to make a point. Now we're going to show them what humanity does when pushed too far. Operation Ghost Strike begins in 48 hours. Throughout the solar system, quantum cores pulsed with power. Ships vanished into ghost fields. Weapons that ignored the laws of physics were armed. The Empire's observers reported nothing but silence and darkness from human space. They never detected the fleet of quantum-powered warships assembling right under their sensors. In her lab, Sarah Chen made final adjustments to the quantum network linking every ship and soldier in the fleet. The Kraxan Empire had ruled through fear for 20,000 years. They thought they were targeting another primitive species. Instead, they had given humanity exactly what it needed, an enemy worthy of its full potential. All ships report ready. Admiral Torres's voice echoed through the quantum network. Ghost fields active. Quantum drives spooled. Strike teams in position. General Rodriguez gave the command they'd spent 3 months preparing for. Execute Ghost Strike. Show them what humanity can do. Across Kraxan space, sensors remained silent. Their mighty empire stood unaware that humanity had transformed itself into something unprecedented, a species that had turned its greatest weakness, its constant warfare, into its ultimate strength. The ghosts of humanity's vengeance were about to reveal themselves, and the galaxy would never be the same. In the darkness between stars, humanity's quantum fleet moved unseen, untraceable, unstoppable. The Empire's lesson in cruelty was about to be answered with humanity's lesson in warfare. The silence was about to end. The Kraxan Empire's largest shipyard orbited their fortress world of Kexthor Prime. Its crystalline docks stretched for kilometers, building the warships that had subjugated 1,000 species. Admiral Vextal stood on his command deck, watching construction drones weave living crystal into new destroyers. His patterns flickered in confusion as his sensors chiefs suddenly stiffened. Admiral, detecting unusual quantum fluctuations, energy readings impossible to. The officer never finished his sentence. Space itself seemed to tear open. Where there had been nothing, dozens of human warships materialized. Their hulls absorbed light like black holes, quantum drives pulsing with impossible power. Before the Kraxan could raise shields, the first quantum torpedoes struck. The massive shipyard didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, its atomic bonds severed by weapons that ignored physics. 50 years of shipbuilding capacity erased in seconds. Vextal's patterns flared in horror as his sensors detected similar attacks across 20 Kraxan systems simultaneously. Admiral Elena Torres stood on the bridge of the Prometheus Remembered, watching the quantum feeds from all strike points. Phase 1 proceeding as planned. Their shields are useless against quantum weaponry. Move to Phase 2. Across Kraxan space, human strike teams emerged from ghost fields inside supposedly secure facilities. Their quantum armor made them virtually invulnerable, their neural interfaces letting them react at impossible speeds. Captain Sarah Chen led her team through the Empire's primary research facility, quantum rifles erasing any resistance. Primary target located, she reported through the quantum network, downloading their technological database. They're centuries behind our current capabilities. Their quantum science is primitive. In Luna Command, General Rodriguez watched the strategic display as red icons representing Kraxan military assets winked out one by one. Status report. Ghost strike proceeding beyond expectations, sir, his tactical officer responded. The Kraxan are blind to our ships until we decloak. Their weapons can't penetrate our quantum shields. Their entire military infrastructure is being systematically eliminated. At the Imperial Palace on Kexthor Prime, the Supreme Council gathered in emergency session. Their patterns flickered in panic as reports flooded in. First Speaker Cthulhu's voice shook. How is this possible? They were primitive. They had 4 worlds. A human voice echoed through their quantum network. Impossible to silence. You thought 3 months of silence meant submission. You thought destroying one research station would break us. Instead, you gave humanity a reason to show you what we really are. Admiral Vextal, watching his mighty fleet burn, finally understood. They're not just fighting a war, he transmitted to the Council. They've transformed themselves into something new. Everything they are, everything they've built, was preparation for this moment. The quantum cores powering the human fleet pulsed brighter as Phase 3 began. The ghost fields dropped, revealing the full might of humanity's transformed military. Thousands of ships emerged from hiding, their quantum drives warping space itself. To all Kraxan forces, Admiral Torres broadcast. For 20,000 years, you've ruled through fear. You've never faced an enemy that evolved through warfare, that grew stronger with every conflict. You killed 3,000 humans to teach us submission. Instead, you taught us that we were right to prepare for this moment. The quantum torpedoes continued their work, erasing Kraxan military assets from existence. The Empire's mighty fleets found themselves fighting an enemy they couldn't detect, couldn't harm, couldn't comprehend. Their 20,000 years of technological advancement meant nothing against humanity's quantum weapons. In her strike team, Sarah Chen downloaded the last of the Empire's secrets. Their entire society is built on stagnation, she reported. They haven't faced real competition in millennia. They've forgotten how to adapt, how to evolve. The Supreme Council watched in horror as their mighty empire crumbled before an enemy they had dismissed as primitive. Their patterns dimmed as they realized their fatal mistake. They had awoken something they couldn't understand, a species that had spent its entire existence preparing for this exact scenario. General Rodriguez gave the order to begin the final phase. Show them what humanity does to empires that mistake technological superiority for true strength. The quantum fleet moved into position around Kexthor Prime. The Empire's capital defenses, once thought impregnable, meant nothing against weapons that ignored conventional physics. Humanity's response to the Empire's cruelty was about to reach its climax. The galaxy was about to learn why humans told stories about overcoming impossible odds. They were about to learn why every human conflict had been preparation for this moment. The silent response was over. The lesson was about to begin. The Supreme Council chamber shook as another quantum torpedo erased a defense platform from existence. First Speaker Cthulhu's patterns pulsed with terror as reports of humanity's full military might flooded in. The holographic displays showed thousands of human warships emerging from their ghost fields, each vessel radiating power that defied comprehension. Send the surrender signal. Second Speaker Myrax's patterns flashed desperately. Offer them anything they want. Admiral Torres's voice echoed through their network again. You still don't understand. This isn't about negotiation. This is about ensuring you never threaten another species again. On the Prometheus Remembered's bridge, Torres watched as the quantum fleet revealed its final form. The massive dreadnoughts, each powered by multiple quantum cores, moved into position around Kexthor Prime. Their hulls rippled with energy that bent space itself, their weapons ready to rewrite reality. All strike teams, report, she commanded through the quantum network. Sarah Chen's voice came first. Research facilities secured. Their entire technological database has been downloaded and analyzed. They'd been coasting on the same technology for millennia. Admiral, no innovation, no advancement, just the same crystalline tech applied over and over. Colonel Harper's ghost teams reported next. Military command structures neutralized. Their leadership is in chaos. They never imagined an enemy could bypass their defenses so completely. Deep in Luna Command, General Rodriguez studied the strategic display. The Kraxan Empire's mighty military, built over 20,000 years, had been systematically dismantled in hours. "Begin transmission of the terms," he ordered. Every display, every communication device across Kraxan space activated simultaneously. The human's message was simple: your empire ends today. Your technology will be dismantled. Your military will be dissolved. You will never again have the power to threaten another species. In orbit around Kexthor Prime, Vextal watched from his crippled flagship as human ships demonstrated their total dominance. Their quantum drives let them ignore the laws of physics, appearing and disappearing at will. Their weapons erased matter from existence. Their defenses made them untouchable. "How?" he transmitted to the human fleet. "How did you advance so far in 3 months?" Admiral Torres allowed herself a grim smile. "We didn't advance in 3 months, Admiral. We've been advancing for thousands of years, through every war, every conflict, every battle. You just gave us a reason to show what humanity really is." The quantum cores pulsed brighter as the fleet moved into its final attack position. Sarah Chen's strike teams had planted quantum beacons throughout the capital city, giving them perfect targeting data. The Empire's crystalline technology, once thought invincible, was about to be rendered obsolete. "You killed 3,000 of our people," Torres continued, thinking it would teach us submission. "Instead, you taught us that we were right. Right to prepare, right to advance, right to suspect that somewhere in the galaxy there was an empire that needed to be stopped." In Luna Command, Rodriguez gave the final order: "Execute override protocol. Show them what happens when you push humanity too far." Across Kraxan space, the quantum network activated. Every piece of crystalline technology, every weapon, every defense system, suddenly found itself operating in a reality where its fundamental principles no longer applied. The mighty Empire's technology simply stopped working. The Supreme Council watched in horror as their civilization's power literally dissolved around them. The quantum cores powering the human fleet had rewritten the laws of physics in Kraxan space. 20,000 years of empire, ended by weapons that should have been impossible. "The terms are simple," Torres broadcast. "Surrender completely, or we'll expand the quantum field until your entire species returns to the Stone Age. You have 1 hour to decide." In her strike team, Sarah Chen accessed the Empire's historical databases. "They never imagined this was possible," she reported. "Their technology, their society, their entire civilization was built on the assumption that they were superior. They never prepared for an enemy that could simply change the rules." The mighty Kraxan Empire, which had ruled through fear for 20,000 years, faced a choice: submit to a species they had dismissed as primitive, or face extinction from weapons that ignored the laws of reality itself. The galaxy was learning why humans told stories about defeating overwhelming odds. They were learning why humanity's constant warfare hadn't been a weakness, but preparation for this exact moment. The awakening giant had revealed itself, and nothing would ever be the same. The hour of decision passed in absolute silence. Across Kraxan space, billions watched their crystalline technology flicker and fail as humanity's quantum field expanded. In the Supreme Council chamber, the ancient rulers of a 20,000-year empire faced the consequences of their arrogance. First Speaker Cathera's patterns pulsed weakly as she transmitted the empire's surrender. "We submit to your terms. The Kraxan Empire surrenders unconditionally." Admiral Torres stood on the Prometheus Remembered's bridge, watching the quantum feeds from across Kraxan space. "Surrender confirmed. Begin Phase Omega." Sarah Chen's strike teams activated the final protocol. The quantum network expanded, not to destroy, but to transform. The crystalline technology that had stagnated for millennia began to shift, evolving under the influence of human quantum science. "We're not here to destroy your civilization," Torres broadcast. "We're here to force you to evolve. Your empire ends today, but your species has a choice about what comes next." From the quantum cores of the human fleet, waves of energy pulsed outward, where they touched Kraxan technology, stagnation turned to innovation. The crystalline structures began to change, integrating with the new quantum reality humanity had created. Admiral Vextall watched in amazement as his ship's systems transformed. This is impossible. You're not just changing our technology, you're changing how reality works in our space. That's the difference between us. Sarah Chen responded through the quantum network. You built an empire on stagnation and fear. We built our civilization on constant change, constant adaptation. Now you're going to learn how to evolve. In Luna Command, General Rodriguez watched the final phase unfold. The quantum transformation spread across cracks in space, forcing an entire civilization to advance in ways they had never imagined possible. Your empire killed 3,000 humans, he broadcast to all Craxan worlds. In response, we could have destroyed you completely. Instead, we're giving you something your species has forgotten: the ability to change. The Supreme Council watched as their capital city transformed around them. The rigid crystalline structures became fluid, adaptive, alive with quantum possibilities. Their patterns flickered with understanding as they realized what humanity had done. You're not just conquering us, Thera transmitted. You're forcing us to become something new. Exactly, Torres replied. Your empire ruled through fear because you stopped advancing, stopped adapting. You forgot that real strength comes from facing challenges and evolving to overcome them. Now you're going to remember. Across former Craxan space, the quantum transformation continued. The civilization that had stagnated for 20,000 years was being forced to evolve, to adapt, to change. Humanity's response to their cruelty wasn't just victory, it was enforced advancement. Sarah Chen stood in the transformed Supreme Council chamber, watching the patterns of quantum energy flow through the once rigid crystals. The transformation is stable, she reported. Their technology, their society, everything about them will have to evolve now. They can't go back to what they were. And the other species they conquered? Rodriguez asked. The quantum network is spreading to all their worlds too. Everyone the Empire suppressed is being given the same opportunity to evolve. The galaxy is changing, sir. We didn't just end an empire. We started a revolution. Admiral Torres looked out at the transformed Kexthor Prime. The crystalline spires now pulsed with quantum energy, their structures fluid and adaptive. Remember this, she broadcast one final time. Remember what happens when you mistake technological superiority for true strength. Remember what humanity does when pushed too far. The galaxy would never forget. The species that had evolved through constant conflict had shown everyone a new way forward. The Craxan Empire was gone, replaced by something new, something that would have to learn to adapt and grow just as humanity had. In the quantum transformed council chamber, Vextall's patterns showed a new understanding. You could have destroyed us completely. Why this instead? Sarah Chen smiled. Because this is what humans do. We don't just overcome challenges, we transform them into opportunities. Your empire taught us that we were right to prepare for conflict. Now we're teaching you why constant evolution is the only real path to strength. The paradigm shift was complete. The galaxy had learned why humans told stories about overcoming impossible odds. They had learned why every human conflict had been preparation for this moment. And most importantly, they had learned that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its weapons or technology. It was its ability to transform both itself and its enemies into something better. The silence of space was filled with the hum of quantum cores, powering not destruction, but evolution. The lesson was complete. The galaxy would never be the same.